I'm still trying to get used to it. I I thought it was hot when I thought the hottest spot I'd ever beat was when I was at South Florida, and I thought that was pretty hot. But I think you guys got them beat. So I'm still trying to get used to it, but it'll be fine though. But it is definitely hot.
So I'm sure when you got here, you started watching film from last year, especially of your guys, and then you went through the spring. Is there still a little catch up on the new things y'all are teaching them, or is that process done over with?
Oh no, that I don't know if that process will ever be all the way done. You can always get better, but they're definitely still working to learn the scheme and the way Coach Salgado wants to do things, because obviously it's a little different from the way from what they've been doing in the past. So there's some learning involved. So we're still trying to put some things together, but the kids are doing a good job of grasping it and continuing to to develop as it goes. So it's still a work in progress, but the guys, they're doing good. They come with a great attitude. They're coachable, they're competing, and they're making the sacrifices to learn the things they need to learn to really grasp the package. So we still got a little ways to go, but they're progressing a lot, and I'm happy with their progress so far.
The term, growing up, they call everybody DBs, and we kind of got away from that. It sounds like y'all are trying to get back to looking at it as a defensive backfield room or a secondary room, not just cornerbacks over here and safeties over here. It seems like the whole black and white, no gray, is more important for the secondary than anyone. Do you see it that way, and how is that?
Yeah, I definitely, because that's Coach Salgado's, philosophy and the way he wants to do things, and that's definitely how we put it together in the spring, and we're continuing to do that in the fall, to where, even start with all those guys meeting together, because so much with this package, so many of the things that they do are interchangeable, because we could be talking about one particular technique with the safety. At some point, that corner is going to have to execute that technique. So we all meet together. So when we're talking with one, we're talking with all of them. And that's kind of the philosophy, because with this package, they're also interchangeable. They're not always just doing one thing. So, everybody's going to have to play man. Everybody's going to have to play zone. Everybody's going to have to play, just for instance, a hedge technique. Everybody's going to have to know how to play one. So when we're talking to one, we're talking to all. And that's how we teach them. And that's helping them with, like you talked about before, that's what helping them with the learning progression and learning the package, because they have to do multiple things. So it's not like a corner just in this defense knows just how to play man and I got that guy. He has to know and have a feel for the whole defense and the safeties as well, the nickels as well. So we definitely meet with all those guys together, and everybody has an idea what everybody does, because they'll have to do it at some point, depending on the pictures that you get from the offenses that we see.
Coach Salgado talked about the communication will lead to speed. Are the guys speeding up?
Oh, yeah, they're definitely playing fast. But overall, what's different about these guys, what I enjoyed about them the most, even in the spring when they didn't really have a grasp of the defense, they were trying to play fast, because on defense, we're not going to always have all the answers, but you've got to play fast and you got to play physical. And part of simplifying some things for them to help them to play fast. But these guys have grasped the part of competing and playing hard, even sometimes when they don't know which way they're going going fast. But you like them to know where they're going. So we're going to try to be multiple as a defense, but also not too multiple to where they can't play fast. And they're definitely playing fast right now.
In the past, there's been a lot of rotation in that room. Even when you had starters, there was 6, 7 corners that would play regularly. Is that something y'all are still looking to do, or is it just a matter of maybe how many guys have earned playing time, or maybe you want to have a set group of starters?
You like to play the guys that have earned playing time, but just the way the game goes, you're going to have multiple guys ready to play. So Like we talked about, with all of them meeting together, everybody knowing everything. Everybody's got to know everything because at some point your number's going to be called. So it just depends on how they're playing in practice, how much each one of them plays. But at some point you're going to have to rotate some guys. So we'd like to be able to play multiple guys at the corner spot, especially because all of them run quite a bit. But at that corner spot, you're going to get tested on a regular basis. So you got to be ready, have guys ready to come in. So it'll all depend on how it goes and how they're learning. But to answer your question, we're going to have to play multiple guys.
So Cortland's an interesting guy. He's been all over the place. I've heard Coach Dad just said he could play some corner, some safety. Where is he from what you've seen in all that progress? How do you see his role playing out?
Because he's so talented. Like you said earlier, we're trying to find a place for him, and we're thinking right now probably more of that nickel spot to where he can be a little bit in the box. He can cover because he's physical enough and he's talented enough. He's physical enough to play in the box some, and then he's also talented enough to play some corner and play some nickel. But we're going to focus more on him playing some nickel in the beginning. But then in some packages, he may be able to play some corner. So he's a guy who's a lot of talent. We're just gonna have him in multiple spots, but we're not gonna put him in so many spots where he can't, like we talked about earlier, where he can't play fast. So we're gonna find his niche, and we're still working on that. But we'll find his niche, and we'll make sure he gets him some touches in the game because he is a very talented player. But right now we'll probably focus a little more on nickel, and then in some packages he'll be able to play some corner as well.
Also, Keon Martin last year, there was some real signs of him emerging. What did you see when you went back and watched the tape, and then what have you seen from him here in the spring?
I think he's definitely a guy that's going to be emerging. He definitely made some plays on the film. I watched him last year in the spring. He did the same thing. He continued continued to impress me. And then this fall, these first 4, 5, or 6 practices, he's been playing really well. He's a guy, who comes every day, ready to compete. And then, he has a good football IQ and a good feel for the game. So I think he's definitely going to have a good year, even better year than he had last year.
You'll have leaders like T. Lou and guys that have been around, and Keon has emerged as a leader, as well as Caleb, although he's a little more on the quiet side. But Jalen Clark just seems to me that got big play potential written all over him. He just was kind of learning the position still as a high school quarterback. What about his progress? And it seemed like his ceiling could be high.
Oh, his ceiling is definitely high. He was a guy last year, even on film, where, like you said, he didn't have a good grasp of the package, but he was always, he seemed to find his way around the ball, and some guys are able to do that. And I think he has a chance, like Keon, to be even that much better of a player this year because he has more of a grasp of the package. He's an older player. He's mature. He's more mature mentally and physically, and he has a good feel for the game, and he's trying to emerge as a leader amongst the guys as well. So, and like you said, him, T. Lou, Kenyon, they're not only good players, they're good people, and they're good leaders, and they're going to give us a chance to be pretty good on the back end and as well as on the defense as a whole.
Everybody always talks about it. Obviously a good pass rush helps the secondary out, but really how important is it, and how do you, maybe if you're a team that starts to get consistent pressure, does it change the way you guys play in the back end, knowing like, hey, we're not going to be on an island here?
Yeah, it definitely always works together. Those guys up front, if they're getting to a quarterback and that ball's coming out, it allows you to play a little more aggressive. It allows you to play, decide whether you're going to play zone, whether you're going to play man, whether you're going to play zone and play more of an aggressive zone as far as a soft zone. So it all works together when those guys are getting off the ball and wreaking havoc and getting after the quarterback and disrupting the decision maker back there. It gives us a chance to play aggressive, whether it be man or it be zone. So it definitely, and I think those guys are, I think they have a chance to really do that. They're really, I know I don't coach those guys, but I think they're really talented. They're twitchy. They compete. They play hard, and they like getting after the quarterback. They like pinning their ears back and making some things happen. So that's definitely going to help us on the back end. I make sure I'm nice to those guys all the time. Yeah, they're my favorites.
I know you and Coach Salgado knew each other from the recruiting trails in the Northeast. What has impressed you about what he's been able to do so far?
As a new coordinator, the biggest thing is bringing together the players, how quickly he's brought them together and getting them to believe, and how quickly he's gotten, the coaches that he's working with, to buy in and believe in the package and learn the package. Just his demeanor and the way he handles the players and the way he works with us as a staff has been probably one of the most impressive things, how he's brought everybody together, within his vision and his plan and executing and delegating responsibility. He just does a good job as a leader, on and off the field.